So it's time to take a break from strength training. I did strength training yesterday and the day before, so it's going to be a pull-up focused day with some Glamour muscles mixed in between. So what I'm actually going to be doing today is I'm trying to get to doing 20 pull-ups in one set. My best I've ever done is 18. And I saw something that I thought I'd give a try. It's where you do 10 sets of pull-ups every 3 to 5 minutes, and you do not 10 sets of pull-ups, you do 10 reps. I'm an idiot, I get sets and reps mixed up all the time. Homeschooled, sorry. That is the reason for the idiocy. Can't even speak. But so you do 10 reps of 7 to 10 sets of pull-ups with about 3 to 5 minutes in between. Now, I hate waiting 3 to 5 minutes in between, so I'm going to do something I've never done before. And I'm just going to do, arm stuff in between. So I'm going to work on the biceps, triceps, and then finish off with some shoulder stuff. Also, my knees bother me a little bit today, so I'll show you how, I kind of handle knee pain. But yeah, I will also share my thoughts with you on why I think compounding effects, or compound interest, however you want to call it, is kind of a natural law, and how I'm maybe a little bit too obsessed with it. But that'll be later, so stick around if that's something that you're interested. If not, just enjoy the workout. One of the main reasons I'm doing this YouTube channel is just to challenge myself. And one of those challenges I'm working on right now is just trying to make every day better than the last as much as possible. There's going to be ups and downs like anything else. But if you haven't been working out for very long, working out sure helps, man, every day. At least if your body's feeling up to it. Some days you just got to take off, it happens. But I don't care if you're tired or maybe even minor injuries. There's plenty of things that you can do to work around. If you got a little bit of elbow pain, you can do lower body stuff. If you got lower body issues, you can work on upper body stuff. There's lots of ways around it, but there's so many days where it takes a lot of willpower to get a workout in, and lots of those days end up just being like 10-minute YouTube videos, workout videos that you can find online. But it makes a big difference. You always feel better after doing it. I always feel better after doing it. So if you're just getting started in working out, then just stick with it. Just stay with it, because there's like no downsides to it whatsoever. And if you've been working out for a long time, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So far I like this way of working out. The 4 to 5 minute rest for pull-ups is plenty of time to rest the back. I always hate those long rests, even though you kind of need it if you're trying to develop strength. So it's nice to be able to do other things in between. So far I really like the pace of it. It's pretty tiring, but still feel like I'm getting enough rest in between things that I need to get. going to failure or working out is almost as more of a mind game to me than it is a physical game, just because you feel like that when that burn really starts kicking in on your last 3 or 4 reps that you're trying to do, you just kind of want to stop and put it down. Well, but you also don't at the same time, because the whole goal is to get swole, right? But you know, you keep playing those games with yourself as you're like, can I do 1 more? Can I do 2 more? And then the whole time you're trying to think, well, am I cheating? Am I swinging too much? So one thing that's nice to do is just to do, you know, even if you can do partial reps. I don't do partial reps too often because I think I do a pretty good job of going to failure. But I know of some guys that just, you know, they'll go, you know, they'll do full reps if you're doing curls or whatever, and then they'll just start doing partials, and they'll literally just go until, you know, they can barely bring it up at all. I don't really do that. That's kind of hardcore, but maybe I'd be bigger if I did. Oh well. Man, the stretch you can get when you're on the bottom of on those triceps is so good. That's probably one of my favorite ways to do triceps. You just feel it so well. So I had a jet ski injury when I was in my teenage years, but my right knee has never really been the same since then. I don't know if you've ever come across, I think his name's Ben Johnson, but he's Knees Over Toes guy on YouTube. But if you got any sort of knee problems, you definitely need to check him out, because he has a really cool story. You know, he wanted to play basketball when he was younger, but his knees were so jacked up that he couldn't. And he ended up developing this program and fixing his knees and getting like a 35-inch vert and making his team and whatever. But there's a couple things that I do on a pretty regular basis when I feel like my knee is starting to act up a little bit. But one of them is I'll just do like 15 to 20 sets of this, or not sets, sorry, reps. And then you can feel your knees popping when you're doing that, but that's kind of like the easy version of helping with the knees. If you're feeling real good, you can do some of these, just kind of go as far back as you can. You know, he can lay his back flat on the floor and then come all the way back up. But another good one to do is to get in a lunge position, but get way out over the toes like this. Hey, knees over toes guy, what do you know? So get way out over it and keep your heel down. So not only are you helping your knee there, but you're also stretching. I feel it a lot in my Achilles tendon, stretching right here too. But I'm also mixing some of those into this workout as well, because what do you know, my knee is acting up a little bit today. My job requires me to walk around houses a lot, and houses, you know, the grass is a little bit slanted lots of times on the outside of the house, which obviously makes sense for you know, prevent flooding and those sorts of things. But so it means I'm spending a lot of time walking with my feet in not flat positions. So I think that kind of affects my knees a lot, and just feeling it today, so it helps. My wife and I finished watching Squid Games, the final season, a couple days ago, and it was pretty entertaining. The first season's by far the best, and it just kind of gets progressively worse from there. But it seems so common in today's day and age to make such questionable writing decisions. I don't get it, and obviously I'm not a writer or anything like that, and I'm sure there's reasons for what the madness is, what it seems like to me. Clearly, you know, they're still making a bunch of money off of Marvel movies and Star Wars shit for some reason, although that stuff's been trashed for so long now. But I don't know, it's weird how, you know, they'll push characters to go one direction and then they'll switch directions with not really any good explanation as to why. Yeah, Squid Games at least did seem to make an effort to visually show why some characters are making decisions that didn't quite meet what they were doing beforehand. But I don't know, it was first season's good. You should go watch that at least if you haven't seen it yet. And I really don't say that very often. I think the last good thing I've seen before that was when I watched Dune 2 in theaters, however long ago that was. So it's pretty hard. I'm a pretty big critic of movies and TV shows, but give that one a shot. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh. All right, I'm done with these pull-ups. I think that'll be 8 sets, maybe 9 sets of pull-ups, and I am getting floppy with them. I'm looking like a fish up there on that bar. My hands are getting clammy and slippery enough to where I can't maintain a good grip. Also a repercussion of having a bitch grip. But so I'm slipping grip. I probably could still do 10 reps in a set, but my grip's giving out on me. So we'll leave it at that. 8 or 9 sets with an asterisk on the last one for sure. But man, it obviously is harder doing pull-ups while I'm working out my biceps and triceps too. Your arms go into doing pull-ups, so it would just make sense. But it's a nice way to feel it a little bit more. Six, 7, 8, oh, 9, so I'm borderline obsessed maybe with, weirdly enough, compound interest. It's kind of a funny thing to say that out loud, but I'm not actually obsessed, but I just am pretty fascinated by it. I actually think that compound interest is, or compounding effects is pretty much just a natural law. There's some things out there that aren't necessarily quantified as natural laws or anything like that, but if you talk to an artist, sometimes they describe things as, well, not that I've ever actually talked to an artist, I've heard them talking about that sometimes it almost feels like they're discovering their work instead of creating it, because when they're in the moment of making it, it's almost just like they're just the conduit in which the inspiration is just being passed through in order to be put down on paper or music or whatever it is they're trying to create. And so they feel like they're discovering it. And I kind of feel like, man, the guy that came up with compound interest in finance and investing just kind of discovered something that was already there as opposed to creating something new. Because it's just pretty amazing how many different ways compounding effects are applied to all areas of life. If you just keep approaching something on a daily basis with the goal of just trying to get better, a little bit better, trying to improve a little bit more, and whether it's a relationship or finances or obviously fitness, it's just amazing how far you can come in a year or two. And then if you just keep it up for 5 or 10 years, it makes a huge difference. The big thing that got me into that was just index fund investing. When I was younger, I really just kind of felt, maybe some people will call it depressed. I don't call it depressed, but just like there was no way out in terms of the work life. I watched my dad work a lot when we were younger. He had 6 kids, so obviously he kind of asked for it in some regards, but he was just always working. He bounced around from jobs from time to time too, and it really gave me this nightmare outlook on, wow, I'm just going to work until I'm 60, 65, hate my job, hate my life, and not enjoy anything of it. And man, when I discovered compound interest in investing, And I discovered it when I was like 28 years old, so I'm young enough to be able to seriously take advantage of it still. So I've been doing it since then, 6 years now. And it really adds up. It's really cool. If you haven't looked into that or anything, I definitely recommend it. I don't follow any type of stocks or day trading or anything enough to actually do it. I did get some really good advice from somebody that does do day trading, that if you ever do get into it, just do it on paper for 3 years. Just write down where you think you should buy something and where you think you should sell it before you actually put any money into it. Because he did this after he was retired, and he was an entrepreneur that was successful and made a lot of money, but he lost a lot of money when he started day trading. So if you're thinking about doing that and you don't have the money to risk, that's a good way of looking at it, according to him. But I definitely don't follow that stuff, so compound interest investing is the way to go for me. And on my phone tabs, I almost always have a compound interest calculator ready to go just to pull up and just start playing with, because it's fun. But yeah, just keep showing up, just keep putting money in, just keep lifting weights, keep trying to improve something. It's easy enough to focus on a lot of different areas when you're just trying to make incremental improvements, or you can just narrow it down to one thing. If there's something you're super obsessed with, and put more time into that. Obviously, the more time or money you put into something, the quicker you're going to see results. But it's easy enough to where you can apply it to all sorts of different things, whether it's food. It's just like, if you were trying to quit soda, you don't necessarily have to just drop it. It's like, okay, I'll go the first week and I'll drink soda once a day except for Sunday, and then the next week you do it except for Saturday and Sunday, and you just keep incrementally deducting that, and eventually you'll just like, oh, I'm not drinking soda anymore, because it stacks and you don't even see it. So yeah, I'm a big believer in that being a natural law, and I'm kind of passionate about it, if you couldn't tell from me rambling about it for the last who knows how long. But that's all I got for today. It's kind of a fun workout. That's probably something that I'll do again. I just don't like the long periods of waiting 4 to 5 minutes in between a set to do another set. So it's nice to be able to work on the glamour muscles in between. I don't think it's hindering progress towards anything, but I guess we'll find out over time. Anyway, see you.